everyday witches emerge from the shadows of secrecy. Broom closets are flinging open and witches are taking flight. Whether you are hiding in your cozy closet or flying with pride, stay for a spell as Witchcasting with Theodora Pendragon and her guests share magical moments, stir the cauldron, and debunk misinformation and misconceptions about paganism, witches, and our wonderful world of magic.
Witchcasting with Theodora Pendragon, and today I have another special guest. As you know, they're all special. Today I have Vaishali. Hello, Vaishali.
Hi, nice to be here with you on this podcast. I'm excited.
I am too. You reached out to me, and what you described was that you were a left brain engineer who transitioned to a right brain psychic.
Yes.
Well, this is unusual, so I want to hear about it. So just go ahead and tell us. How did that happen?
So I used to design computer chips. I am still an engineer, although I don't design computer chips.
Okay, that doesn't go away, does it? You're still an engineer.
No, I think it's always a part of you. So at one point, I was having a little bit of a problem related to my career, and I decided to seek out help from psychics. And I called one of the psychics and I kind of told her that this is what is going on. And if she could kind of help me or guide me to move forward into whatever is the right direction to move forward. At that point, she said that there was like a black cloud hanging behind my head. I said, well, that's not good. She said, no, we need to get rid of it. I said, yes, let's do it. So she said, in order to do that, you need to burn a candle. I said, well, okay, I can do that. How much? She said, no, it's a special candle. I said, well, how much is it? And she said, it's like $900. I'm like, wow, that's a really special candle.
That sounds like a scam to me.
Yeah, but at that time I was really naive. I had never consulted a psychic.
Are you going to tell us about the scam?
Yeah. So essentially, what happened is I ended up calling a lot more psychics, and maybe 30, somewhere between 30 to 50. And at the end of the day, I realized that none of them knew what they were talking about. That was just like my conclusion. And I said, oh my God, these people are just clowns. I can figure this out myself. So I said, let me figure this out myself, if it's even real, if it even works. So I decided to go and learn all the stuff there was to learn about the psychic world, and I decided to play with predictions. And I thought that if this is even remotely real, then I should be able to verify predictions like within like a week or a few weeks. And then I started going backwards. I said, no, within like a few days. And then I said, no, within a few hours. That's when I started to play with predictions and I started verifying them. And I could get like results in an hour. I would go to the gym in the mornings and I would kind of make a prediction as to how things would play out. And then I would come back and see what I had written. And it turned out it was pretty accurate.
Help me understand what you were doing. You were trying to make predictions just to see if you were accurate.
Just to see if not only if I was accurate, but if this thing was even real, that you could indeed make predictions and predict the future.
How did you do that?
How did I do which one?
Make a prediction. You weren't psychic yet, right? Or at least you didn't know you were psychic yet.
I was studying it. So there are different methods through which you can make predictions. Like astrology is one of them. Cards is one of them, and clairvoyance is one of them. So I was studying all these things, and I would just use these techniques or tools to be able to make the predictions.
So you use the cards, astrology.
Clairvoyance, all of those, to be able to make the predictions.
So you were testing it.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was testing it, and then I decided to test it for myself. And within a week, I could verify that it was actually working. After 3-4 days, so I did it for 3-4 days, and every day I would come and see that I was predicting my own future. And that was pretty scary. So I said that if I can predict my future, I should also be able to change it. So one of the days when I was going to the gym, I used to distinguish between cardio days as well as weightlifting days. So one of the days was cardio days. I said that, if the reading says I'm going to run, then I'm going to go on the Stairmaster. And if the reading says I'm going to go on the Stairmaster, then I will go and run. So either way, I'm going to be right and the reading is going to be wrong. Or at least that's what I thought at that point. So the prediction came out that no matter what I did, both of us would be correct. Did you want to know what it said or guess what it said?
Yes.
What did it say?
I don't know. What did it say?
It said woman at crossroads, which means that even if I do this or even if I do that, both of us would be correct.
Okay.
That kind of gives you the power, or how do I say it? Essentially, it means that you do have free will and you can make choices that can change your future if you know how things are going to play out.
You're playing around with your own predictions.
Yes.
What about for other people? What did you predict?
After I was happy that, I was kind of able to do this, I started to read other people. And in the beginning, it was more like experimental. I would put like an ad on Craigslist and see if people would bite on it. And they would say, how do we know that you're real? So I would kind of do like a 5-minute free reading for them. And they would say, yeah, I think it's fine. And they would move forward. And I did that for maybe like a couple of weeks. After that, I got exhausted. I couldn't do the 5-minute freebies anymore. So then I kind of started looking at being on more professional sites and reading there. And that's how I kind of got into it and started reading. And then essentially, it was pretty much people would come back and say that it happened or it played out to a great extent.
All right. So you put an ad on Craigslist. They would call you, and this was over the phone.
Yes.
Okay. And over the phone, you would make a prediction.
Yes.
And then they would call you back and told you that it happened.
Yeah, they would come back again for a second reading or a third reading and so on. And they would give me feedback.
What kind of predictions were they?
So a lot of them were related to relationships, like people who were single and looking for someone new, or people who already had someone and they didn't know how things would play out in the future. Those were like the main category of the people related to relationships, and then some were related to like jobs or career and money, but 80% of them were related to relationships.
And how do these predictions come to you? Are they in picture form in your brain, like it's a memory or a movie playing in your head? How did the prediction come to you? So if I call you and I say, I applied for 5 jobs, which one will I get? Would you be able to predict that?
Yeah, pretty much. But depending on the question and what kind of a reading someone is looking for, I would use like different tools or different techniques. For instance, if you asked me the 5 jobs question, okay, I could probably do it with different techniques. So let's say that I used the cards, then with the cards, I would just look at how the outcome of each job is going to be and which one is going to give you an offer, which one is not going to give you an offer. I could also tell you how much the offer is going to be and how much you need to negotiate.
Really?
Yeah, I did that for a business. How do you say it? Bid. Like there was a girl who was bidding on a project, and she wanted to bid, like it was a big project. She wanted to bid like 200,000, but she said, I don't want to bid too low because or too high so that I lose it. So I said she could go up to 250. So she did 250,000 and she got it. Actually, she has a testimonial on my Google reviews. She didn't write the numbers. I told her not to.
All right. So you use the tarot cards?
I don't use tarot cards. I use different type of cards. It's not the tarot. I'm not. I haven't used the tarot. No.
And what's the name of these cards? Can you tell us?
Yeah. So I use like a couple of different. One of them is the Lenormand cards. Those are ones. Then there is also one called Gypsy Witch. There is also one called Sibylla. So I use a combination of those cards.
What would you say the accuracy rate is of your predictions?
I would say it's over 90%.
That's pretty good.
As you keep reading people, you can kind of refine the predictions, and as they give feedback, you can kind of correct a little bit. And essentially, it's like just making it more and more refined every time.
Do you see people in person as well or just over the phone?
I do both in person as well as over the phone.
And do you also do it on video if they're in the other part of the world?
I have done only a few videos. The problem with the video is I can't really look at them because I have to focus on the reading. So I feel a little uncomfortable doing the predictions on video. It's like I've done maybe very, very few.
It seems contrived if it's on video.
I don't feel comfortable because I'm never really looking at them. I'm just listening to their voice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you verified your psychic abilities.
Yes.
Tell us how you verified that.
I think I verified the predictions, is what you meant. That's the one where I gave you the prediction about whether I was going to run on the treadmill or go running or do the Stairmaster, and I could do either one. So that is like one example. Another one is about giving out descriptions of people. So I would like when I first started reading, I would do very detailed predictions. I would give people like a description of whoever the person is that they are going to meet, their future boyfriend, girlfriend, how they would meet them, and where they would meet them, and so on.
That's pretty detailed.
Yeah, it was pretty detailed.
And you got this from the cards, or did you also get this from spirit guides?
It's a combination of cards as well as clairvoyance. So I would do a lot of those, but now I just have them as downloads on my site. So like people can just go on my website and they can get a downloadable reading. I don't really do it individual per se, but it's still about the same accuracy.
So, how does the downloadable reading work? If I wanted to get a reading from you, what would I download?
So the downloadable reading, they are specific to a question. For instance, if someone is looking to get married and they want to know about their future husband. Okay, so let's say there's a lady who's wanting to marry someone or wanting to know what her future husband is going to be like. So essentially, she would kind of get the future husband download. And the way I do it is essentially you have to make a choice between three options, and then each of those options would have a description of the person. It's about 80 to 90% correct. I had a lady who got a download and she said it was about 90% correct. I have her picture on one of my web pages actually.
Have you created all these downloads in advance?
Yes.
How many downloads would you say you have available?
I have about 6 to 7 different downloads for different questions. So I have one for a future husband download. I have one for, where you will meet this person. I have one for what they will be attracted to. I have different kinds of them.
And how much do you charge for that service?
So since those are downloads, they are anywhere, they are in the range of around 50-ish. Some are a little less, some are a little more, but it's about $40-50.
Are these one answer questions?
One question answered.
One question answered.
Yes.
You must have repeat customers.
I have a lot of them. Yes, I do have a lot of repeat clients. Some of the clients who started working with me back when I started, they still work with me. That's around 2014. So that's about 9 years. That's a long time, long time.
Yeah, that is a long time, 9 years. Would you say that you're better now than you were 9 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. As it's just like with anything, when you first get started, you're very new. You look at things with different eyes. And then as you start growing, even though you look at the same thing, you will start peeling layers and layers. So essentially, I can go into very detailed predictions. So even if like there was a situation, I could give out a lot more details in it. So essentially, if someone asked me a question, I could talk about it in one sentence, or I could talk about it for like 10 minutes, depending on how much information they are looking for and how much I'm seeing or what I'm seeing.
I see a psychic occasionally who lives near me,
Okay.
and she is very accurate.
Okay.
However, what I've noticed is that she's not accurate on timelines.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
An acquaintance of mine was in prison, and he was serving a 3-year prison term. She said, "Oh, he is getting out early, very early. He will get out in the spring." So this reading was in the summer.
Okay.
We're talking about maybe 9 months later.
Yeah.
She says that he's going to be released from prison.
Yes.
Well, he actually was released early, like she said, but he was released only 3 months after that reading in the fall. So her timeline, that's just one example of a timeline that was inaccurate, but she was accurate about him getting out of prison earlier.
Early. Yes.
So have you had an experience like that where you're pretty accurate in one area, but there's another area where, it's hit or miss?
So, as far as timelines are concerned, timelines can be very dicey at times. It is possible to predict them. In fact, it is possible to predict them down within days. It's just that it takes a lot of, at least for me, I can speak for myself, it takes a lot of time to be able to give out like an accurate timeline. And most of the times when clients are in front of you or they are on the phone with you, they kind of are expecting the answer within like 1 minute or 1 second. So within that much period of time, you can only give an estimate of the timeline. And for those purposes, I think the estimate is good enough. But yes, it is possible to get like detailed timelines. It just takes like a long time to kind of get down to it.
Mm-hmm. In your email to me, you said that the question is more important than the prediction. What did you mean by that?
So, most of the times when people are looking for a prediction, there are like different varieties of people based on, whether or not they have seen some psychics or they have never seen any psychics or anything. Some of them would just tell me, like, tell me what you see, kind of a thing. And that is very general. For those kind of readings, it's like, depending on how you see it, it may be easy or it may not be easy. When you are looking for a specific piece of information, the more you are able to narrow down the question or be more specific about the question, the more accurate the reading is going to be, or the more concise it is, or you would have to kind of, go through or peel through lesser number of layers to be able to get to the answer. Because when someone is asking you a question, they have like something specific in mind as to what they are looking for, but sometimes because of, let's say, lack of experience or something, that they're not able to phrase the question in a specific way. What I've seen is that in order to get like really accurate and good answers, you can do those readings in a very less amount of time, but you have to be very specific about the question for that.
Let's say a woman comes to you and she's dating someone and she wants to know if she will marry him. Can you predict if she's not going to marry him because there's someone better for her in the future? Or do you just say, no, you're not going to marry him? Or yes, it looks like you're going to marry him.
So that's a great question, and it's very tricky. Um, so, okay, so if she comes and asks me whether or not she is going to marry this person, if I see it clearly, then I will say it that definitely you guys are going to get married, or definitely you guys are going to kind of not get married or break up, kind of a thing. Now, if it is in somewhere in between where, there's a choice involved, where she has to make a choice or she can make a choice, then I would kind of phrase the question differently for her. So we come back to the question. If she were to come to me and she said, I'm a little open, I'm dating this guy and I'm interested in marrying him, but just in case I decide not to, like, who is it that I would come across, or who is it that I would kind of marry? So then I would kind of give her a prediction as to, if she goes with this guy, what is going to happen. So let's say in this case, she would get married. And if she doesn't go with this guy, then I would probably tell her that this is the kind of person you would meet and this is the kind of relationship you would have. And then based on that, she can make a choice as to whether she likes the first person or she wants to wait for the next one.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not sure what this means, but you would know.
Okay.
Framework for leveraging the spirit, body, and stars. What is that? What does that mean?
Let's just go back to the love question. The lady who came to me, just an example we took, right? You just made up that example. So let's say there's another lady who comes to me and she says, I'm interested in finding someone or meeting someone, but I don't really know where to look. Or she could say, I've been looking in this specific manner, say on some dating websites or dating apps, and nothing is happening or nothing is moving forward, or I'm not meeting like the kind of people I would like to meet. So in that particular case, there is a way she could course correct. And the way is instead of just kind of going blindly into just one dating app, I could probably tell her like which of the apps would work better for her. So it's just like, whether you like Starbucks or Pete's, kind of a thing. It's a taste it's a taste thing, right? So maybe it's not that the guys on one dating app are bad. It's just that, they're not the right fit for her. So even if she keeps looking on that app, she's probably not going to have that much luck. So just by using the power of the stars, you can tell as to which app to use. So that would be like one thing. But this is just like one specific example. So I kind of help out women. I have a membership for this and I help out women in a group. And the way I do it is I show them how every week they can leverage the power of the stars and they can kind of focus their search in a specific direction. Believe it or not, every week there is some sort of an opportunity for you to kind of advance your search or make progress in terms of meeting this person. So I have some women, and what I do for them is I tell them every week that this week, this is how the opportunity is going to come. For instance, maybe you'll get a phone call or you'll get like an invite for a group outing. So you just go and focus on that particular activity, and that is where you're likely to kind of meet someone. So that is like leveraging the power of the stars. So essentially knowing where the opportunity is going to be in advance so that you are more prepared. And then the second one is using the power of the spirit, where you can kind of do some energy clearings and kind of clear off any stagnant energy that is sitting in your space. So I teach them a very specific energy clearings. It's kind of a meditation, but it's kind of not. So essentially, I teach them let's, for the sake of generality, let's call it a meditation, but it's essentially like an energy clearing meditation where you can kind of clear the energy from the spirit to be able to make yourself in a space where you can find or meet or attract the right person.
How big are your classes?
So these ones I just started. I was doing one-on-one for a long time. So these ones I just started. So I'm just starting to get people into them.
Is there a certain type of student that seeks your services?
So mainly it would be people who are interested in spirituality or who kind of believe in spirituality or who are looking for some sort of an alternate method other than a conventional solution. Like instead of going to like a matchmaker or something where they may or may not kind of find the solution, they would rather prefer trying a different method. Those would be like the kind of people who would come and seek my service.
And the course that you offer, is it for a certain time period?
So that's like a membership. Essentially, it's you can come in when you're single, and then after you meet someone, depending on you can stay, or I don't know, you can stay and still learn some of the other techniques, because essentially I teach a lot of strategies, and those strategies are applicable to career as well as finances, but I kind of focus on relationships because that is what most of the women are looking for. But some of them, actually one of them has seen it play out in her career because she wasn't that focused on her career, on her the relationship, so she kind of saw the same thing play out in her career space.
Are you saying that majority of the people who come to you are lonely hearts?
I you can say, well, I don't know about lonely hearts. I think it could be that they are single. There is also another class of people who are having problems in an existing relationship.
Okay, and they probably want to know if there's something beyond their relationship so they can make the decision to leave.
Yeah, to stay or leave or do whatever. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
We need more people like you.
Oh, you do?
We need more people like you to help people make decisions like that, because those are not easy decisions.
No, those are not. And when some client comes to me saying that, can you read for me and I have to make a decision tonight, I tell them that, you're better off not doing it. So just go with your gut, because they are under so much stress. And even if I say anything to them, they are not going to be able to absorb that information.
I agree. It's never a good idea to make any decision when you're under stress. You should let the decision come to you at the right time and not put pressure on yourself to make the decision by a deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas if that was like an old client with whom I worked before, they would just come and tell me, like, can you just tell me if this is going to fall apart? And I tell them, and they are so willing to accept it because they already know how I work and I don't make things up. And they are in a space where they are ready to hear the answer.
Maybe they already know the answer.
Yeah, they already know. They're just looking for validation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, lonely hearts are probably your number one client.
Yes.
Would you say that number two is finances?
I think it's more like career and or health. Finances are like not that much, but career and health are probably number two.
Okay. Am I going to get the job? Will I get the promotion? Or am I
Yeah,
going to get fired? Hmm.
they are there. Am I going to get fired? How long am I going to stay in this job?
Is there anything else you want to tell us about your psychic abilities?
I think I would like to say, if someone is interested in exploring this, I have a freebie which there'll be a link to, and you can grab that. Essentially, it shows you like what could be the potential blocks in the way of love, and you could go through it and grasp the information to be able to move forward.
And how can we get the freebie?
For that, I'll be giving you a link, and then you can post that link, and they just put in their email and they can download the freebie.
Okay, is this freebie available all the time or is there an expiration date?
Right now it's available all the time.
I will put your freebie link in my notes and they can download the freebie.
Okay.
Do you want to give us a sneak peek at what we can expect from the freebie?
So essentially, it gives you the framework I showed you about how you can leverage the power of the body, the power of the spirit, and power of the stars in order to accelerate your search or to move forward.
Okay. After the freebie, say I download it and I like the freebie, then I can come back to you for more.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, we'll do that. I'll put that freebie in the notes and the listeners can download it. How can people find you on social media?
So on social media, they can go to my Facebook, which is, you'll put the link, right?
I have the link. Just tell us what it is so that everybody knows.
It's facebook.com uncorking intuition. That's the name of my page. So you can look that up.
Okay, so it's a group, right? Your page? Is it a page or a group?
There's a page and there's a group as well.
Okay, so it is called Uncorking Intuition.
Yes, that's the page.
Okay, so that sounds like a bottle of wine. Uncorking Intuition.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's your Facebook. And what else do you have?
I pretty much operate on Facebook right now. I think pretty much Facebook. And my website, which is my name.
And you also have a YouTube channel.
I do have a YouTube channel. I have some videos on it. I have a video of how I got started to become a psychic, and I have some videos about how psychics can predict the future. I have some interviews, and in one of the interviews, I kind of talk in detail or in depth about how the psychics can time travel, essentially.
Oh, okay. Time travel. Is that the same as astral projection?
No, time traveling is essentially, you could say it's the same as predictions, which is you're moving forward and backward in time.
Oh, okay. So time travel would be traveling forward in time.
Yes.
That sounds interesting too.
Okay, so my Instagram would also be Uncorking Intuition. I'll probably have to make that page.
Your Instagram is Uncorking Intuition, just like your Facebook. Okay. Okay. Is that all you have for us today?
I think that's it. Yes.
So, we're going to learn about developing our psychic abilities. So, if you want to follow Uncorking Intuition on Facebook, and I also will post the link to the freebie.
Cool.
Well, thank you, Vaishali. This has been very nice. And if you've been doing it for 9 years, you must be pretty good.
I am. I want to say I am.
Say, yes, I am. I'm pretty good and I don't charge $900.
I think I need to start charging the 900.
You know, some psychics out there are charging $900. So,
Yeah, I think the problem with that business model is it's going to be a little bit challenging for a new person to try you out, because a person can spend a little bit of money to try someone, but $1,000 to try someone is a little too risky.
yeah, and you won't have much business.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us for Witchcasting with Theodora Pendragon. Have a burning question or have a topic you'd love Theodora and her guests to discuss on the show? Contact her through Instagram at Theodora Pendragon. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And help us spread the word by leaving us a rating and review and sharing it with your friends. See you next time, and may your magic always shine.